Hi everyone, welcome. In this video, we are going to learn about Power BI using a government dataset. And the dataset we have is a Medicare provider inpatient charge data for the fiscal year 2017. If you haven't watched the video on Power Pivots, please do so first, and then you can watch this video after. Now, we are using this data set, and I downloaded this data set, and it is provided in the descriptions part. There is a link, and for this video you need to download Power BI, and which is a Microsoft product, and you can just search for Power BI desktop and you can download it from Microsoft, and you can just install it, and you'll be ready to watch and do the same steps in this video. Okay, so I have my Power BI. I'm just going to open it, and I also have my data set, which is the fiscal year 2017 Medicare inpatient data. And if I open that data set in Excel, it is providing me a list of procedures and done by different hospitals, and also the charges, the total charges, the amount of charges that Medicare paid, etc. So here it is. The data set is provided for you. This is the provider's data, and this is the charge data, and these are provided in two different worksheets. Now let's just close that and go to Power BI. First time you open it, it is going to just show you this welcome menu, and then you can just get rid of that. It looks like I forgot to do that. So let's just close it. Now we can import data from different places, and I want to just import data from Excel, but there are a lot of different sources that you can just choose from. If you look at here, for example, so you are seeing a lot of different data sets that you can think of importing. Okay, so we are just going to just use Excel. It doesn't make us less valuable than all those people with using different data sets, right? Databases. Okay, so I want to just click on Medicare inpatient 2017, click OK. And now it says it is connecting. Now it is asking us which worksheets from this Excel file that we want to connect to. We are going to choose this top two, and we look at it. Everything looks good in terms of their, the titles, the variable names are there, all the procedures are there. That means we could just import this in this way. There shouldn't be any problem. So we are going to click on load. And so we're gonna wait a bit. Let me just pause the video. Okay, so it took some time, maybe half a minute or so. I don't know why, maybe my computer is getting older. But what we have here is now, this is the canvas of Power BI. And it says page 1, you can add one more page or another page, etc. Then we are going to put our graphs, tables, everything in this canvas. We can increase the number of pages, and there are a lot of visuals that we can choose from. We are going to just first add one visual. I already have it in here, that's called shape map. But if you just open your Power BI at the first time, you wouldn't have that activated. Just go to File and then Options and Settings, and under Options, and go to let's where this Preview Features and a Shape Map Visual. So just check that box and click OK, and you should see that there are two different maps in here, but then I want to use this one, and I think there's one more. This is ArcGIS maps as well. So now let's just look at the data set that we have. We have a data set and it has two tables, right? So it has one table, Medicare inpatient data with the charges, and there's a provider's data set. And these two can be connected by the provider ID. So if I know the provider ID in here, then I can just know the provider name by looking at the other data set. But if I do not connect them, Power BI or Excel wouldn't be able to know there is a relationship. And sometimes when you open and import, Power BI is able to recognize that relationship. So you can click on this manage relationship here, or you can see the relationship on the left hand side. So this one is your canvas, this one is showing your data sets, and this one is just showing the relationship. And it is also already detected the relationship. As you look, it's here and here, the provider ID and provider ID are the same. And if you look at the managed relationships, the provider ID in one table and is linked to the provider ID on the other table. And this is again one-to-many relationship, and it is indicating that provider ID is only repeated once in this table, and it is repeated many times in the Medicare inpatient charges dataset table. Okay, so if you just click on upgrade now, it just changes the formatting and it looks in a different way. But let's just go and click on the bars, and we want to add some visuals in here and make it nice looking. So first, let's just add a text box. And text box, I want to just add a text box and say that Medicare 2017 charges dashboard. Okay, so I just type that, and then I can just change the font and make this font look bigger. And let's just make it a little bigger. And instead of 36, let's just make it 24 and make it like this and make it bold. Okay, this is good. So I have Medicare 2017 charges dashboard, and I want to refer to this dashboard maybe every morning, and I want to look at certain things if this data sets is changing every day. But it is a historical data. You wouldn't need to see the changes, but usually at a workplace, you are going to have a dashboard where you connect to every day and the values change, right? So you're adding more and more data sets in there, and you can just see the new values and by just refreshing your connection. So let's just put first thing, you can just try different charts in here, but I want to just add a clustered bar chart. And when I do that, it is only putting a chart in there. So let's just make it look like this, and we can modify that. And let's just add one more thing in here, and maybe just add in addition to this cluster chart, let's just add a shape map as well, and just put the shape map somewhere here and align with the other one and just make it a little bigger, and looks good. There's nothing in here. So what is happening? So there's nothing here and there's nothing there. The reason for that is we need to add what kind of data we want to put in there. So we need to populate it with data. And if you click on any one of these, and here what's happening is this part is the fields. You can change the access data, the legend, the values. You can add some tooltips. We are going to do that, but these are just specific to this bar chart, okay? And the same menu items will not be there for the next one. If I click on this one has a location. Why? Because the bar chart is not going to store the location, but map, yeah, you know, the map is going to get the location in there. You can add a location data field in there. You can add legends, the color saturations, etc. So the color saturation means that if there's a value, the bigger values are going to be showing with high saturation, and smaller values are going to show with maybe a lighter saturation. Then for each one, you can then also do some formatting. So this is kind of a brush for Excel, but this here is a format, and you can just change the title, you can change the background, you can add a border. Mexico will not pay for it, and you can add some other things in. For example, if there's a bar chart, again, title, background, tooltips, etc. So for each one, the format is going to be different values, and it is going to be also this the data fields are going to be different. Let's just add also maybe a gauge, and when I click on the gauge, I can also put it in here. Okay, so maybe somewhere there, and this is my gauge to kind of consider, and that's it. We're going to put a little bit more information. Let's just add now something to the bar chart. So let's just add in the bar chart, I want to put the provider names. If I check that provider names while this is highlighted, and what's happening is it is going to recognize that the provider names are going to be in the rows, and then I can go to the Medicare inpatient, and I can take the average total payments in there, the sum for per provider. I can just check that box, or I can drag that over here onto this file. Onto this object. So we are seeing here all this information. It is just all these providers, many of them. What I can do is I can only show a certain number of them, and I can see that when I check this, it just shows me that provider name is all, and I can just go to the filter, and instead of basic filtering, I can only choose top N values, maybe just say top 15 of them. But how do I choose the top 15 among them? What value that should I consider? And I want to consider again the average total payments. I can drag this again and put it under by value. Okay, so in here now, if I drag this down, and you are going to see that it is only going to consider top 15 values. And after that, what I can do is I can also maybe add a tooltip. What the tooltip is, when you look at here, the provider name and the average total payments are by default are shown, but I can also show their Medicare payments in there. So I can take this Medicare inpatient amount and put it under tooltips. Now, if I do that, I can see that for each one of them, average total payment and average Medicare payments are shown. Then I want to modify this a bit by just formatting it. So I go to the format, and then I'm going to look at the data colors, and this blue, and let's take a look at here. What else do we see? We are looking at and we are going to click on the FX for default color. And when you do that, it is going to open a color scale, and you can just choose the color, the lowest value and largest value, and based on field count of provider name. And we don't want to have the count of provider name. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to choose this as the average total payments and make it sum. So the color scale is based on sum of average total payments, and then we just click OK. Now you are seeing that it is just ranging from 0 to 11.83 million, and we are seeing the hospitals in here. Now let's just put the second one, and which is what the map. So in here I highlighted the map, and then I'm going to click on the fields. Then I will, for this map, this shape map, I'm going to add in color saturation, I'm going to again add the average total payments in here. Now the color saturation is put there, And now it is asking me what the location data, because it is not able to recognize where these average total payments are. So I'm going to just choose maybe the provider state, and I'll take that and grab and put under the location. If you want, you can just look at the zip codes and change it to a different type of map, and you can see the values per zip code. But here, I think this is sufficient for us. It's sufficient for us to kind of consider as the average total payments by provider state. And finally, let's just put this in here somewhere and make it a little bigger, drag it up to here. And this is my the gauge, and in the gauge I'm going to again look at the target value, and let's look at the value first. The value is average total payment, and let's say how much of that is paid by Medicare, and I take the average Medicare payments and take it under here, where under the target value. So here, this is the Medicare payment, and this is how much over the Medicare payment. If we want, what we could do is these are the sums, and we can just change that into average. So if I just change it to an average, and I can also change the average Medicare payment to an average. So this is going to be average per hospital, and this is just showing me the amount average per hospital. But when I do this, I need to make sure that the title just indicates that. Then I can just go to the formatting, and I can look at the general, and I can look at the text in here. Where is the title? Okay, title. And then instead of typing this, the average payment per hospital, or average payment versus Medicare. Okay, so I can just change the title, and instead of just using a typical title provided, default title provided by Power BI, we can just use this one. Now this looks kind of big for us, so we can just make it a little smaller, and we can add additional things here or change the place of this. Let's also put some cards, and I want to put one card in here, and I want to indicate that, oops, I need to just undo that, because what I did is, instead of just clicking on the canvas, it was already selected, so it changes it to a card. So I just click on this canvas and click on card, and this is one card. Let's just put it there and just add another card, and this is my second card, and then I just click on this and just put one more card, and let's just put them together. So card one, average, this is cover charges, let's just make it bigger, and then this is going to be average Medicare payment, and this is the average total payment. Do this, and you can change them, you can format them, you can color them, etc. Now we are going to put one more thing, which is going to be a slicer. As you know that in the pivot tables, the slicer is going to filter the data set, and we are going to click on the slicer and take the slicer and make it big, the biggest you have ever seen. Okay, I'm not referring to a politician here, it is just this is a bigger one, and I will take this and put under this slicer the provider state, and now I have the states, but by default they are shown very small. Let's just make them big. So how do we do that is we are going to just go to the formatting, general, and instead of making it vertical, if you just change it to horizontal, so it just puts all the provider states in there, and you can just click each one of them one by one. Now whenever you put the slicer in here, it is going to filter all these other things that you put in here. So you need to maybe make sure that just put the title just reflecting that. So you can just choose, for example, if I just choose Alaska. Now Alaska is selected, and it is showing me now the highest provider in Alaska, not in the US, in just one state, and everything is changed. All of these are changed. The map is showing, average payment is changed, and Kentucky, I think, and Florida, and New York. Where's New York? Okay. It's here. So we can, are we able to click on here? No, yeah, we have to kind of select in here from the provider states there. And whenever, if we want to kind of filter this and maybe, sorry, to cancel the filter, we can clear the selections, and now everything is selected for the whole US. Now, if I want to publish this as a dashboard and just provide a link to some other people, I can do that, and you can just in the morning wake up and just check the data for different states. If this is your company, you can just check your data for different branches, and you can look at certain measures without just digging through the data set. And this is a visual for yourself to look at. So you can go to File and Publish, and publish to Power BI. When you do that, what's going to happen is it is going to publish to the cloud. And I think as if you are a company, then you may have to pay for it and to store that, but you are able to share. Otherwise, you can just file, and what if I just export to a PDF, and I can also just save this as a report, and the report can just stay, and I can just open the report every day and I can look at those details. So this is the first step and a quick introduction to Power BI. I recommend that you just download a data set, and any data set that you could, and just drag some visualizations and work on them, filter them, and change the formatting, etc. Learn these. The next step is going to be more of doing more calculations, customizations, etc. But this should be sufficient for most people. But there are certain things if you need to do. You need to know your data set, and you also need to know what your needs are. Then you can just add certain things onto your dashboard, onto your report, by just doing maybe some extra work. I think this is sufficient for this video, and thanks for watching.